Okay, if homilies are okay, that's fine. And maybe he reads the gospel a little funny, but what is he like when he's distributing the Eucharist? And it's just pure joy on his face. Like, that's what I'm looking for.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Catholics in Ordinary Time. I'm delighted to share with you an interview I did with my good friend, Ryan Bradshaw. Ryan and I have known each other for quite a while, but now he lives in suburban Denver. He's a husband and a father, and he had been working in video production, but he recently took a job in his local parish, actually working on staff. So I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. So thanks so much for being a guest on this as we try to understand how to do this Catholics in Ordinary Time. Part of what we're trying to do is kind of build a listening space after the synod without ever saying the word synod, because who needs to, let alone synodality, which is it's just a way to frame, if we say we're a listening church, why don't we find places to listen to the Spirit working in the church? And I'm particularly interested in how that happens with younger adults, and so this is a chance for me to actually have a conversation with younger adults about practice within the church, how they do it, why they don't do it, why they used to do it, why they started again, all those sorts of things. Like, what's the actual experience rather than just kind of guessing. So that's what we're trying to do.
Sure.
So
Great.
You remind me, as I recall, you're a cradle Catholic. You didn't come to faith later on, or?
No, I am cradle Catholic. But it was in college that I kind of had it was not a one and done deal, but it was kind of a series of events where I was at college my first time away from home, without the parents there, and then stopped going to church for a little bit, decided, well, if I'm going to go to church, I'm going to go to church because I want to go to church, not because my parents keep telling me to go to church. And so I went back to this is something I want to do. Yeah. Turns out it's something I want to do. And then later on, I toured in a band for a while, and those guys were all Christians and suddenly asked me questions like, well, why are you Catholic? Like, what about this? What about that? I'm like, well, I guess I better study some things to see if this is what I really believe. Well, it turns out I believe all these things. So here's why I'm Catholic, guys. And that's just kind of, between that and then just kind of looking back, hindsight's always 2020. Some certain decisions that I've made in my life have really just been like, yep, you're Catholic. Okay, here we are.
Nice. And were your parents, would you say strong Catholics or sometimes Catholic, occasional Catholics, regular Catholics? How would you?
I would say they were regular Catholics. They're stronger Catholics now. They're always learning stuff. Now my parents are doing rosaries daily. They usually don't go to bed until they have said their rosaries. So occasionally you'll see my dad upstairs with his eyes closed on the couch with his rosary. You okay, Dad?
Yeah,
my rosary.
I got to get this rosary in.
Yeah, I got to get this in. But they're doing a lot more stuff now than they were when I was a kid. I mean, we went to church on Sunday. I went to CCD, as they called it back in the day, and that was all we did.
Yeah, and that was kind of fine, basic.
Yeah.
Good. What's your practice now? Like, as far as attending church, are you part of a parish? What do you?
Yeah, so I'm a part of a parish. It's the parish that I joined when I moved to Colorado. Been there 7-ish years.
Mm-hmm.
And actually work at the parish now, which has been a huge blessing. I love our parish. I love our pastor. He's great. He's very, how do I say that? He's very pastoral. Of course he's very pastoral, but I mean, he will talk to you and explain things to you so well. And I love just sitting and listening to him preach, listening to him talk, asking him questions. He's very succinct and very easy to understand. So we've been going to that parish for 7 years, weekly, except for COVID. And then when I was working at my previous job, it was the daily mass on most occasions, but it was a Catholic company too. So
yeah, right. And you live in what would be called suburban Denver.
Yeah,
suburban Denver. So yeah, how was I'm so interested about how COVID was for you. I mean, you have a tech background, so tech is not like out of the question for you. But how was it to move from I presume in person to online? Was that the sequence you guys did?
Yeah, that was the sequence we did. I hated it, to be quite honest. And it was super, I had to be very, intentional about not having my phone with me. Sometimes we're actually watching it on our phone if we couldn't get it to pull up on the TV, but very intentional about not having my phone on me. Cause you're on your couch, you're sipping a coffee, right? This is not what church is to me. While I think that there are graces that we get from going to mass, and I think God works in His ways, not our ways, and so we can we still receive graces how He wants us to receive them. It just was not working for me. I am an in-person kind of guy. Regarding phones, I leave my phone in the car. If you want to steal my phone, it's usually in the door pocket.
And welcome to it.
And welcome, yeah. Please just take it. And then we go in. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm not distracted that way. I'm distracted with a toddler, not my phone. And I don't know. There's just something about being there with your parishioners, with your fellow parishioners, being together. There's community there, which is, to me, is really what church needs right now. Authentic community. And I think we have a good community. We're building our community. We're trying to grow our community. Yeah, COVID was not fun for anyone, to be fair.
Yeah. Does your church continue with the online option now or post-COVID?
Yeah.
Or how did you do that?
They are still streaming mass on Saturday nights for those who just can't. We have an older crowd. Our demographic in our parish is it skews older, and it's starting to come down average-wise in age as we're actually kind of growing right now, which is great.
Yeah, good. And you were doing video production, right?
Yes, I was a film producer. Yeah.
And then you now what's your title at the church now that you work for the church?
Now I'm the director of discipleship for our parish.
Dude, what is it? That can mean anything. What is it?
Right? I am in charge of forming our parish in our faith from cradle to the grave. I've got the whole spectrum.
Okay, so you do like what's sometimes called CCD, what's sometimes called RCIA, just all the letters.
All the letters. We do RE, RCIA, OCIA, OCD,
ADD. Yeah.
ADD.
Well, you've been doing that for a while. Yeah.
That's fair.
So you do all that. Yeah.
Yeah. I oversee all of it. I don't do it all myself. I oversee some of it. Some of the stuff I have a hand in. I make kind of like final decisions if there's a problem. But I do have someone that coordinates religious ed. And is there present all of the time when we have it. I'm even there kind of every other week just to kind of be around and see everyone and let people know, hey, I'm here. And if you want to talk to me, you can talk to me. I'm a real person. Please come talk to me.
Yeah.
And then we're starting, is next week Ash Wednesday?
It is.
And the week after Ash Wednesday, we're starting a series, an adult faith formation series on reconciliation. So
so the whole thing,
the whole thing,
the whole thing. How has that affected your personal faith, like having to work in the biz as it is?
I have worked in the biz, so to speak, since 2017. So it with the film, so the film production was actually was with a Catholic film company, and it was phenomenal. I learned so much about my faith, about life and death, and honestly, science and all kinds of crazy things. It's not that I didn't want to know; I just didn't know that I wanted to know it, perhaps. And that was incredible. I mean, what an amazing. I don't know. I don't want to sound cheesy, but what an amazing God we have, because we have the universe is such an incredible thing, and life is an incredible thing. And death is actually fascinating and such an incredible thing. And so that was great. Being in the parish level, it's what I usually say. It's like ministry in the trenches. And so I have people that are like, "Hey, what does the church teach about this?" I'm like, "Well, let me find out." And so it's actually still a lot of learning and a lot of, once you get through all of the parents that have problems with, my kids aren't getting anything out of this. And the people that are like, how can we need help here. And it's like, okay, then you can start actually focusing on like learning something because you're walking with people, which is such a different experience than what I was doing before.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Like just being a friend on their journey is kind of an incredible thing.
Sometimes church workers long to, since they work at a parish, to go to church somewhere else. You don't feel that, or would you feel like you'd be missing out if you were at some other parish?
Yeah, we've thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to another parish. Like this is my parish, and the reason I work there is because it's my parish.
Yeah,
and I want to work there because it's my parish, and I love my parish, and I love the community, and I want to see our community thrive. I want people to know who I don't. It sounds like pretentious. I don't want people to know who I am. So like, oh my gosh, there's Ryan. No, I want them to know who I am. So like, if they have a question, they can come talk to me.
Sure.
Not that they have to hunt me down in a directory somewhere. Like, oh, I know that guy. He's the director of what did I say? Discipleship. And I don't even know my own job title. And I'm gonna go talk. I have a question. I'm gonna go talk with him.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Rather than you might be there on Tuesday afternoon. Otherwise, you're working from home, which is sometimes the response people get when they're looking up staff members. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I work. Yeah, so I have an office. I have a desk. Yeah, if you're familiar with the office, do you know the annex where where Mindy and Ryan sat?
Yes,
that's where I sit. I sit in the annex. I am off in the back, away from people. They don't let me talk to people for the most part. They try to do everything, and then it's like, well, if we have to talk to Ryan, they can talk to him. It's fine.
Smart. It's good.
Yeah, it's better that way.
So it's an older group, but it's getting younger, and you're doing a bunch of the discipleship piece. Are you building out new work or continuing good work?
Well, we are a little bit of both. We are kind of in the middle of revamping our religious ed programs, and with some new religious ed curriculum to kind of meet the kids where they're at today, which is kind of something which I'm not like a huge fan of putting more screens in front of kids, but if that's where they're at, I should probably be there too with our formation and stuff. They have done things, and I'm just hoping to make everyone go from PowerPoint to, hey, we're not doing PowerPoints anymore. We're going to watch this video. And then at the end of this video, we're going to have some discussions, have some questions, and just talk and see where we're at.
Yeah.
And then come back next week. We'll do some more of this. The idea is to take that and make it small, to do small groups and kind of do small faith communities inside of the greater community. And so you can say like, well, I don't have to be the one that is going to run a Bible study for the whole parish. If you guys want to run a Bible study, here's all of the material I have. You're welcome to any of it.
Yeah.
Just tell me what you want.
Who's inspiring you as far as like people that write about this sort of stuff? Are you, what are you reading, or what is the parish read that has been helpful?
So both my pastor and I have read Rebuild and, the church in Baltimore. And we're kind of taking some things out of that, out of their playbook. So like one of the first things, what I talked to them about was like, we needed a culture here.
What was the culture? What was the culture that was it just not intentional? It wasn't bad. It just wasn't intentional, or?
It wasn't great. I don't know if it was intentional either, but it just wasn't great. There were people, our mission statement is to help people experience the risen Christ. I work for Risen Christ Church. We help people experience the risen Christ. Okay. But there are people on our staff that aren't doing that and are purposefully not doing that, right? They're not helping people. They're not meeting people where they're at. They're quick to say no about things. And so like, that's a culture we have to change. Like, okay, well, we have to stop being, a curmudgeon about things and start, actually being nice to people.
It seems complicated, right?
Right. Which is like, how does this even? Okay, it's a church, folks. But we also, office gossip flies around. It's a church office, but it's still an office, and it's a small office, so everyone knows everyone. Everyone knows everyone's business to some degree. And so, just trying to say, like, hey, if you have a problem with someone, go to that person. Don't talk to Joe over there. Go to them and talk with them if you have a problem with them. And in my leadership style, for better or worse, I try to be a little bit bit more biblical about it. And just if your brother sinned against you, go to him. And if he doesn't listen to you, take someone with you. And if that person doesn't live with both of you, go to the church. Well, the church here is our priest, so we can go to him, and he oversees everyone. So, just kind of making some shifts on, hey, just be nice to people and treat them how you want to be treated. And also, don't forget that person in the parking lot that you were just kind of rude to, this might be the last time we see them.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Keep that in mind.
No, 100%. People have those stories about why they no longer go to church, and it's something seemingly as small as that, but it's so indicative of the culture. So, yeah,
and it starts at the beginning, right? It starts at the top, rather. If the office culture is good, that bleeds into the team. If the leadership culture is good, the office culture is good, and it bleeds into the parish. The parish culture can be good.
Yeah,
and we can all be welcoming. There's just some people on our staff that just have not great people skills. Very intelligent people, so smart, not the greatest people skills.
Yeah, no, sounds like you have your work cut out for you there, as most parishes do. I think. Would you describe your parish as progressive, conservative, traditional? How would you describe it?
Whoa, that's a good question. We're somewhere in the middle of all of it. We're not like a traditional Latin mass for sure. And the priest always is facing the congregation.
Wait, this seems like a pretty low bar so far.
Yeah, the bar is low. But our priest is he's very traditional. He's very, I don't know, orthodox, I guess. But he's also, it's a mix of people. So we're talking with everyone in this parish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it important?
Which is different from where I live, right? So I live south of that from where I work. And where I live is actually fairly conservative. And where the parish is not as conservative as where I'm at. So there is a difference there.
And you didn't
get everyone there.
You didn't go to your local parish.
Oh yeah. Should I confess that now?
Oh no. Yeah.
No.
You're good. Because it didn't suit you. It wasn't what you were looking for.
Where we live, we're about 15 to 20 minutes from all of the parishes around us.
Oh, okay.
We could actually use a parish within our area, to be honest. But we're within 15 to 20 minutes of all the parishes. So it's technically whose parish bounds we're in. 15 minutes, maybe 18 minutes from them. I'm 17 minutes from our parish right now. So it's like, well, what is it? Flip a coin, we're going to go there. We just have a community there and we want to stick with our community.
Yeah. And when you say you have a community there, I know that you all have a little baby girl. And are you, when you build community, or when you say the community, is it couples like you with little kids, or everybody, or grandpas?
No, it's everybody.
Yeah.
We have we sit in what I like to call the kids section. Excuse me, which was the kids section until they remodeled the church, and now it's a little smaller than it once was. But everyone sits there. It's not just families with kids. It's everyone. So there's a guy there that Harry, who is probably in his 70s and ready to retire. He knows my daughter very well and always says hello to her. And another woman who sits in our section as well. But then there are younger families that have my daughter's best friend is there. And that family has 4 kiddos, and they all hang out together. They always sit together with them at Mass, and then they play together after Mass. We have friends that are engaged, who are younger in their 20s. We have friends who are married and kind of starting out on the journey. So it's kind of everyone. I don't discriminate. I genuinely enjoy everybody's company.
Yeah, I know that from being your friend for a while, and probably being a recipient of that. So thanks. Also, are the families there? How would you experience them? Are they younger families that are, prone to homeschooling their kids, or sending their kids to, particular academies or Catholic schools, or is it just a mix of everybody?
It is genuinely a mix of everybody.
Yeah, nice.
There's families there that do homeschool their kids, and then there's the family that we sit with, and their kids go to 2 separate schools right now because one's in preschool and like preschool, whatever that is, and then the girls are in a different school. And then there's some of the kids that go to Catholic school and other kids that don't go. There's all over the place.
And how old's Claire now?
Two and a half.
Two and a half. And where do you guys reckon she'll go to school?
So she's going to go. She's got in actually to a Catholic preschool.
Oh, okay, nice. Is that connected to your parish or your parish?
It is not.
Okay,
which is unfortunate.
Yeah, but I mean, what can you do? Yeah,
it's not that far from here.
Yeah, apparently. So good. That's the direction you'll go with that. Yeah, nice. So what? As far as the people that show up to that parish, would there be gay and lesbian couples, or would there be folks generally what you'd think about as more progressive? That's kind of a broad brush.
You would. I've never seen a gay and lesbian couple there. I do know that we have some people in our parish that are
LGBTQ
or lesbian. Yeah, right. And then it's such a strange part of Denver that you really get everybody. There's everyone there.
Yeah.
So, and there was a church that was super progressive that has a new pastor, and we're getting people from that parish now coming into our parish because they've left that parish. Now they're coming to our parish.
Because it shifted. Yeah.
It shifted, but at the same time, I kind of feel like, well, it shifted, but I know that pastor. I know who he was anyway. And I remember going to a mass there thinking, he played the piano. Like, he played the piano. He had a piano solo. Like, that doesn't strike me as, was this a valid mass?
Show me where it says in the canon law you can't play the piano during mass as the priest.
You know what? If the priest wants to do a piano solo, I guess it's up to him.
What about a guitar? What about a bass?
Guitar solo?
What about drums? Could the pastor do drums? What about a bagpipe? A bagpipe, obviously. Accordions, yes. I mean, the Polish parishes, right?
Oh, accordion. Yeah. Of course. If you're not playing an accordion, you're doing it wrong.
You call yourself a pastor. Yeah.
Yeah, really? Come on now. Actually, our pastor does love a good polka, so maybe one day.
Okay, great. That gives me some kind of idea of what kind of parish you're part of. So one of the big things that people point towards as an indication of a parish's health and growth potential is when people invite other people to church because they know it's a consistent experience. Have you and your wife ever invited people to come to mass?
We've had a couple people come with us that are either fallen away Catholics or not Catholic, and that's something that I want us to work on because I don't think that we're doing that well. And I was talking with a buddy of mine about this.
Sorry, you or the parish?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got it.
I was talking with a buddy of mine who is just newly Catholic, a baby Catholic, if you will. Though he is not a baby, he's a full-grown.
Got it.
And I was asking him, like, what can we do? How can we get more involvement from young adults? And he said, invite them to something and don't preach to them. Oh, okay. Great. You can do that. I can do that. Come over and we're going to do a cigar and whiskey night. Okay. Yeah. He was like, they would love that. Do that. And then, but now we have to figure out, like, what is the next step? Right. So they've come to this thing. Maybe they come to a couple of things. Now, where do we go from there? Where do we even point them to? Do you want to, we're still trying to work up the small group thing. So I can't really put you in a small group. We're still trying to kick off these Bible studies. So we have video Bible studies. You could come watch The Search. You could come watch this show, or you can go to OCIA if you want to do that, or RCIA, or wherever it is in your parish. Where do we take them from? Right. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See you next time. We've got to have somewhere to go from there. There should be a plan in place to take them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because I think the best articulation of that is to understand a discipleship path within your parish so that every event you do, you all know what the next event is for the participant in that event. So it's like, okay, so this is a Mardi Gras party. Great. How does the Mardi Gras party, what's the next step for the person that came to the Mardi Gras party? What's the next step the person that came to Ash Wednesday? What's the next step the person that came, so there's always in the staff to be thinking about that. I think that's exactly right. Because a person needs direction, and the direction means what's the next step.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly well. First off, that's helpful. Thanks for that.
Sure.
But also, like, to think like, great, how are we going to keep them here? I don't want to say keep them here. Like that sounds a little kidnappy.
Well, it's more like how do you feed them the next meal if you don't have any in mind?
Sure.
Yeah, it's like, what is it? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So you have invited people. Do you have, sometimes people don't invite, Catholics don't invite people to Mass because they can't feel confident that it's going to be the same good experience that they may have experienced for one weekend. The next weekend, it could become something completely random and terrible.
Yeah.
Do you have confidence that weekend to weekend, it's, the music's pretty dependable, the hospitality's pretty dependable, the preaching's pretty dependable? Again, it doesn't have to be spectacular.
Oh.
Oh,
right. Oh, hospitality.
Like, saying hello, opening the door, remembering people's names. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. This is going to give it away. If anyone's watching this in Denver, it's going to give it away. But our parish, the tours are like shopping market doors. Like,
yeah. Nice.
All right, sound effect, whatever.
I like the sound
effect. Fortune film. What do you want from me? It's like, it used to be too. It's not that way anymore. But like, you walked up to the door opens itself. No one had to hold it open for you.
Oh, good. Okay. Oh, well, that sounds good. Too bad. That's not how getting into heaven's going to work. You're not going to have someone do it. No?
Yeah. Someone's not going to activate the door. We're not all going to sneak right in behind them. Maybe I will.
Maybe. I mean, sure. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, it might happen a little.
Yeah. Here and there, it's very rare.
Yeah.
But that's something that I've thought about too. And because I know that we have both read Rebuilt. And it's something that I think about. It's like, we don't have people there saying hello. We don't have people there. If we just had like a nice like trifold of something of like, hey, guess what? You're new here? Here's how to go to Mass. Never been to Mass before? Here's how to go to Mass. Sure. It looks nice, right? This looks nice. Oh, okay. I can follow along. This is where I'm at. That's the priest. Okay. Why is he wearing that? Next week. Okay. Something that's tangible that they can hold on to and follow along with. Now I get it. It's in the missals. That's fine. But that's also intimidating. Like, picking up a missal is intimidating.
And all those are just all those are opportunities. Even if you're like, well, it is in the missal. Yeah, it is. But there's an opportunity here.
Right. Or here's how you go to confession. But also, I'm also, as a creative and as someone that is visually, that cares about how things look, it can't just be there is a trifold little pamphlet at our parish of a guy sitting going like this, and he like looks like he's from the 80s. He's got kind of a mullet and a mustache. Like, why is that the guy? Like, I don't want to pick that up. I don't even know what it is. Why is he the guy?
Correct. Yeah. And we could talk about this a lot. So just on another little piece that may or may not have occurred to you, were you involved with the listening sessions in preparation for the synod?
I don't think so.
Was that happening in the parish?
I do think so.
Okay, great. So it was happening, but you weren't necessarily part of it. Was it a parish that was like, okay, we did the synod and a lot of people participated and here's what we listened to? Or was it like some people did it and then a report came back from the diocese saying this is what we gathered and this is what we talked about? Or how was that? And it may have happened and you didn't notice it. What do you think?
I'm going to say it may have happened. I didn't notice it.
Okay.
I know that there were listenings. The listenings.
The listening
Podcast.
sessions.
We'll be here all week. But I don't know. Actually, don't know what happened with all of that. To be quite honest.
Yeah, I think that's pretty typical. Yeah, pretty typical. What do you think about the future? Since the synod is kind of about trying to chart a future for the church, how are you hopeful about the future of the church as far as thriving or continuing to seem to decline, or how do you feel about that?
I think the church will get smaller, but it'll get stronger, and I think it'll start growing again from there. But I do think there's ways to mitigate some of that, and that is, you have to stop being we have to start being authentic with people. Like, you want to get people to start coming to your parish, whether they're Catholic or not, you have to be authentic with them. And so I think
You said that earlier. What does that mean, authentic, to you? Give me an example of inauthentic.
Boy, I have examples, but I know people are going to watch this. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I would say having a holier than thou, like, oh, well, you can't do that, or that's superstitious, or, well, is it though? Like, or I don't know, always like a know-it-all. I don't know. What is that? Just being like, hey, you know what? I struggle with that too. Or you're struggling with your faith. That's interesting. Tell me more.
So kind of an honesty and a vulnerability on the part of the church with people.
Yeah. I mean, people don't want. I've been having a talks with a friend of mine recently who's kind of going through a little bit of a struggle, and he says to me multiple times, "You seem to have this whole thing figured out." I'm like, nope, practicing, don't have it right yet. And I know that. Like, there's always something, right? That, like, I don't understand that. Am I struggling with that? Yeah, sometimes I'm struggling with that. Oh, okay. And that's okay. It's okay to struggle. This is like, we're not getting it right. The church is not, it's not a waiting room for saints. I'm sorry. It's not a hotel for saints. It's a waiting room. Gosh darn it. Scrap it.
We'll take this out in the edit.
It's not a waiting room for saints. It's a hospital for sinners, right? We're all sinners, and that's something to even the saints. And I've heard, like, what makes a saint is that they know that they're a sinner, but God still loves them, and they still love God, right? And so, I think we have to have that mentality of, I think we have to be honest and be truthful with people. I don't think we can just, I don't think we can say, we can't, I don't know, sugarcoat and say it nicely, but sometimes there are going to be hard truths, right? And that's okay. And sometimes there's going to be things that are hard to understand, and that's okay. That's a mystery. There are just some mysteries, and we have to be okay with it. But people are going to struggle with that, and it's okay to not always be the one that's like, oh yeah, I've got that down.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's good. How has your life changed when you think about the church now that you have a daughter, because she's going to be growing up and living in this world? I mean, what is it that kind of gets your heart going, or really hurts, or you find hopeful, and because you now are a parent?
Yeah. I think I want Claire to have, like, a deep love of God and the Eucharist. And that is, I think that's really a big deal for us. And it's going to sound weird, but we have a deacon at church who, like, his homilies are okay. He reads the gospel, but he reads the gospel with such joy. And I was like, okay, his homilies are okay. That's fine. And maybe he reads the gospel a bit funny, but what is he like when he's distributing the Eucharist? And it's just pure joy in his face. Like, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want. Claire's going to have her struggles, and that's fine. But I want her to just have pure joy and love for the Eucharist and for God. I think, as far as, like, the church, I want, my ultimate fear, and one of the things I'm trying to figure out now is, and of course I'm at one parish. Sure. We're talking about a whole world of parishes that have to get on board with some of these things. Is, okay, great. Now what? They've been confirmed in we're a restored order parish, or diocese. They got confirmed in 5th grade, and then what? Okay, now we have 6th grade, so 6, 7, and 8. We have middle school. Okay, great. Then we have high school youth ministry, which we're still working on at our parish. We don't have one, which falls under me. And then, well, what happens after that? Because it seems like in the past, the church says, all right, I got confirmed when I was 14. Hey, you're confirmed. We'll see you when you get married. Okay, correct. Well, I got married at 35. So we're talking, 36. We're talking, 20 some years later is when they would have seen me again. Right. And then it's like, all right, we'll see you when you have kids. What?
Yeah.
Come to us when you're ready to get baptized. And then we won't see you again until you want to put your kid in the pre-K during Mass or kindergarten on Wednesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Where's that? Where is there any kind of ministry in that? Like, where is the community in that?
Yeah.
There's no, how do you feel at home at a place that says, it kind of ignores you until you have something, they have something you want?
Yeah. No, those are good questions.
Always do. But I mean, like, we should always want.
Yeah.
Mass should be something that we want. Eucharist should be something that we want. That is, reconciliation should be something that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. However, what are we doing to reach anyone between the ages of freshman in high school or freshman in college to whenever they get married and beyond that?
Yeah. And especially since a lot of people don't even, I mean, if they haven't been reached out, they're not going to come back for marriage anymore at the moment.
Oh, that's true.
It used to be like, oh, they'll turn back up. Well, that's not been the case. Yeah.
That's not the case. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you feel hopeful about the future of the church as smaller, and then maybe growing from that. And is that because of the experience you have in your own parish where you're working?
I think it's kind of a little bit of both. COVID definitely changed things. I don't want to harp on COVID. Everyone has their opinions about COVID, but COVID changed things for the church, right? Some people didn't come back. And I have my opinion on why some of that is. Mm-hmm. We just did a church renovation. Some people haven't come back yet because some people don't want to worship in a gym, right? They don't want to go and it's not the same. No, it's the same. It is the same thing that is happening there, right?
Yeah.
And so we're back in the church, and it is a little smaller, and not by much, but it's a little smaller. You kind of feel it. And then if you have, let's say you have a parish where a pastor doesn't speak good English, that affects people. People don't. Not everyone. It doesn't bother me, but some people don't like that, and that affects them, and that affects the size of the parish. So I see those things, and I think, okay, well, our parish is getting smaller, but it's also getting bigger. We did, I think, a couple years ago, we had more baptisms than we had funerals, and then last year we did more baptisms in the first half of the year than we did the entire year prior.
Oh, that's great.
So the church is growing, but there are some hurdles.
Yeah. So what about if you were going to talk about what would be some of the hot button issues within the church, like, sex, social justice, the environment, which would you talk about, and what kind of lights you up as far as like the church is really helpful in these areas, the church is kind of missing the point in these areas, this is the reason you remain Catholic, this is the reason you're always like, I don't know. It doesn't have to be just these three. Those are the three that come into my mind. When people typically talk about, oh, the Catholic Church, oh, XXX, that they're doing this wrong and that wrong, or right.
I don't know. I think if the Catholic Church wants to remain the Catholic, how do you say that? I think if the church wants to, the church has to remain authentic to itself, I think. And there's a lot of opinions about all of the things that you mentioned: sexuality, environmental, you name it, right? There are all kinds of opinions about that. I think if the church wants a chance at reaching, I think our next generation is going to be I'm going to say it again, wants the authenticity of things. They're going to want you to practice what you preach. And so if the church really wants to grow, they have to be authentic to those things. And whatever the church, like church teaching. I don't know the church teaching on immigration. I don't know the church teaching on environmentalism, to be quite honest. I don't. Should I probably learn it? Probably should be a little bit familiar with it,
You are the director of faith formation.
Discipleship, please.
Oh, sorry, discipleship.
But I think we have to be, we can't, I don't think we can just bend to whims necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can can, I just think we have to stay Catholic.
Yeah. Which is pretty broad.
Question.
No, this is good. This is good. This is good. That's what I'm curious about, is like, you are one Catholic leading their life, and these are the things you either know about or you don't. And I always find it interesting what people put in the column of "this is why I stay," and some other people put it in the same column for "this is why I leave." And I'm like, oh, okay.
I'll tell you why I stay. When I was on tour, I toured with a Christian band. I saw hundreds of non-denominational churches. And this is not a knock on non-denominational churches. Without a doubt, they were all uninspiring. And to be inspiring, they had to have lights, smoke, rock bands, and all that stuff. Okay. Which isn't bad. There is a place for these things. I've always felt that the Catholic Church says, hey, come here as you are. We don't want you here. We want you here. I don't know if you can see my hand. It's higher. We want you here. Like, you're here, but you were made for more. Come here. Like, come with us. This isn't going to be easy. This is difficult. There are going to be things that are difficult for you to understand.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be things that you don't understand. That's one of the reasons why I chose to be Catholic. I could have been anything else. Mm-hmm. And would it have been easier? Absolutely. There is a part of me that would love to be able to just watch church service on my couch or with a coffee in my hand, or, you know what I mean? Like, there's part of that, but I also love the reverence of the church and what we have to offer. And I think that, if we really want to journey with people, we just have to say, like, this is not always going to be easy. There are going to be things you're going to wrestle with. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're here to walk with you. Right. And that to me is, that's genuinely how my pastor is, which is one of the reasons why I love him so much. He's just so like, yeah, I'm here to walk with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's walk together.
That's worth a lot. And if you can continue to encourage the parish to do that, the congregants to do that too, wow, that'd be quite an achievement. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I'm not really good for like public speaker. I don't know if you've noticed from this that I'm not really.
You're not in public
speaker. You and me and millions of other people.
Millions. Oh, sure. Yeah.
But I like, it'll be, like I said, it'll be interesting when all the Bible studies start happening.
Yeah.
This is full of gin, by the way.
Sure. No, I understand. You're drinking a sippy cup of gin. Great. So what about how does your parish, or you individually, how are you about Pope Francis? I know that some American Catholics can get all incensed or worked up on Pope Francis, the one way or the other, or,
I think Pope Francis has said a lot of things that get taken out of context. I don't always agree with some of the things that he says, and that's okay. I'm going to be honest again. I don't necessarily know all of the things that he has preached about. Sometimes he says something, and that's okay. Right? He has opinions, and he can have opinions. It's not that he doesn't have to be right about everything. But I think I don't know. People get up in arms about him. Look, it's not an easy job, and nobody asked for that job. And
well, I did, but I was told no. That's why he's doing it.
Oh, dang! You asked for it.
Yeah. I put in a note. I mean, why not? Because it's the best way not to get it.
Actually, I was talking with a buddy of mine who works for the Archdiocese, and he said, Archbishop said to him, the guy that the next Pope always comes out as a cardinal. He said, whoever they all think the next Pope is going to be, he always comes back out as a cardinal.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Which
I think is fantastic. If you think about like what this is really supposed to be, like, the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, and it's this is led by God. This is not it's not men leading this church, it's God leading the church. It's like, if that, oh yeah, he's the next. I know a guy, don't know him personally. I do have a selfie of someone that I was told might be Pope one day, and if he does become Pope, then I'm going to frame that picture. But like, if maybe it's not him.
Yeah.
He could go in like, oh, it's gonna be him. It's gonna be him. Like, and it comes out that guy. Like, that's such a great, I don't know, a testament to the church, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of proof of concept that the Spirit should be available.
The downside to that is, unless you're Catholic, you don't, and the kind of paying attention to all of these things, you don't know who that is necessarily.
Right.
And maybe that comes out. I don't know how old I was the last time we had a conclave, but
Well, I think sometimes people had a pretty good idea, or they have claimed to. But the Pope itself, I just finished reading the history of the Vatican Bank, which is the seamier side of the Vatican. That's for sure.
Do they offer loans at low interest rates?
Oh, they've done just about everything. And to some of the worst actors on the political stage that you can imagine. Yes. You're like, oh, yes. Yeah. And so the Pope's a big piece of that too. Yeah. Well, I just bring up Pope Francis because he's certainly on people's minds, not only of who he's been, but who his condition at the moment. So it's been.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that are praying for the conversion of Pope Francis, not St. Francis. St. Francis has already been converted, so he's a saint.
Is that really a thing? Just the way you articulate it? Really? In your church? In your parish?
Yeah. Not in my parish. It's on the social media, which is why I don't usually go on social media.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But okay. But we should all be praying for our own conversions every day. Like there's always something we're all wrestling with.
Yeah.
Okay, so pray for him too, but also pray for me because man.
I could use some conversion. Yeah.
Yeah, I could use some conversion. I could use some prayers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who couldn't?
Yeah.
Who's walking around going, you guys,
I'm good.
Nobody's prayers. I'm good. Nobody's saying that.
No one at all. Great. Well, those are the questions I had for you. Thank you for taking the time. I so appreciate it. It's so nice to see you and to hear how things are going.
It is so good to see you. I hope you know how much I've appreciated our friendship over the years. That I tell people that, and you can edit this out if you want, but I learned to smoke a cigar from a priest. And honestly, that's some of the things that we did at Bronco Catholic, Reppin, that I want to do at our parish too. It's the sitting around. We're planning a cigar and whiskey night just to have a community. The nights that we would sit around after events and just talk and be together, like that's where you built the community.
Yeah,
and you built the relationship, and then you could go in and you could say, "Hey, listen, I'm just going to say this, but I'm going to challenge you on something." And then you had a relation with that person. They could hear it.
Yeah, correct.
No, that's exactly it. Preaching at them without a relationship, they're not going to listen to you. Who are you?
Yeah. Last night I went to the Common Ground, which is the kind of the praise and worship thing that happens every week here on campus. That is, I mean, yes, it's sort of headed up by the Protestant. There's a Protestant minister that I work with. He's on team. So kind of him and it's really student led. And when I was there was like, I'd say half the kids that were Catholic, and it's praise and worship. And it was really good. I was like, oh yeah, kind of sing a couple songs, stand up, do a lot of this. And then someone preaches from the Bible, and then we sing a couple more songs and that's an hour. And there's just a lot of hanging out. And I was like, yeah, great. So I try to go to all of that stuff, to build those connections and get to know students. And yeah,
we're trying to do similar things like that. I have a buddy that works for the Archdiocese that is a part of our parish, and we talk all the time about stuff. And we do a young families adoration and dinner. And it's pizza, it's adoration followed by pizza. And there's not a ton of young families there. There's not a ton. We usually get it like 30 people there, total. And some of those are half of that could be one family, depending on the family. But some of it comes across as a little campy. At the last one, this is just campy. We're serving lemonade and iced tea and pizza. Wait, who are we getting? We're not attracting any. Oh, okay, yes. I want to go back and say, like, we should all want to go and adore. Like, we should all want to go to adoration and spend time with Christ in adoration. 100%. But if you want them to really come out for that, they're going to come out for the pizza and the beer and wine that we're having afterwards, not just the lemonade and the iced tea.
That's how human beings work. And that's totally right. Completely fine. Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that sounds good.
Something. I love that, like the worship nights. It's like we're trying to do things like that. We're trying to get, I don't know, just more involvement.
How's your music?
How is our music? It's good. Actually, it's pretty good. Um, it's not terrible. Actually, we have our guy that does our music he's 20 something and he plays the organ. Like, when did you decide to learn to play the organ at 20 something? Like, and he's good. He's great. He's very, very talented musician. And we have a lot of people that are, talented singers. We have some that aren't as talented, but it's okay. And I think there's a choir. People are there. They're consistent. It is consistently good, and that's really what matters. Obviously, they want to be great, and there are times when they're just phenomenal.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I was down in Boise doing a funeral for an aunt of mine, and Jake was doing the music because it was out of the Holy Apostles. It was so great to see him.
Oh man, so that guy. Can I tell a story about Jake? I don't know if I've ever told you this story. I love Jake. Jake is, if this makes it in, I'm gonna give the context of Jake. Jake is a classically trained guitarist, a classically trained musician, phenomenal, one of the smartest guys I know. We were playing at an event, the youth, the high school event that they have in Boise, ICYC. They had split the boys and the girls up for a session, and Jake and I went with one guy and the rest of the band stayed back. And I'm sitting there on my little cajon drum, and the guy who's talking and kind of leading the worship there strums his guitar, and it is immediate that it is out of tune. And it's bad. Like, it's not like, we could do this. No, it was bad. It was so out. And Jake is sitting there, who is a guitarist playing bass for the band. And he's like, yeah, okay, we got it. Yeah, okay. And he starts walking around. And he walks over to the left side of the guitarist, and I see him take his hand off, but he's still playing with his left hand. And so he's playing the bass with one hand now, and he starts tuning the guitar while he's playing the bass. And I can barely walk and chew gum. It was one of those moments where I was like, wow.
That's incredible.
Just a flash of the brilliance of Jake. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you again. This has been terrific. Love it.
Always happy to talk with you. Always good to see you.
Thank you so much for listening to Catholics in Ordinary Time. If you like what you're hearing, please consider subscribing so you don't miss anything in the rest of the season. Also, please recommend this to friends and family. And if you're feeling up to it, please leave us a review. That makes all the difference. Again, thanks so much for listening.